Bonjour, bonsoir. Welcome to the Ampliverse Book Club. This month we read the novel Hercule Poirot's Christmas by Agatha Christie. Let's start right away with figuring out how to say his name. Hercule Poirot, Arcule Poirot, Hercules Poirot.
I know. I was like, his name's Hercules.
It's Hercules Poirot. Hercules Poirot.
It's Hercules.
Oh, hello, welcome. So I will be introducing our book club hosts using pull quotes from our book today. First off, yours truly, there is irresistible simplicity and buoyancy of a Christmas treat about RJ. Hello.
You're not wrong.
Thank you. Next up, it's thanks to Poirot that I discovered and love murder mysteries and Allie.
Good.
And finally, never has Poirot's mighty brain functioned more brilliantly than Catherine. Hi, Catherine.
Wow.
All right. Like I've said, we have read this month Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot's Christmas. I just found out that it was previously published as Murder for Christmas or Holiday for Murder. And now Hercule Poirot's Christmas is now the official title. So let me read you a little bit of the back. Christmas Eve and the Lee family's reunion is shattered by a deafening crash of furniture and a high-pitched wailing scream. Upstairs, the tyrannical Simeon Lee lies dead in a pool of blood, his throat slashed. When Hercule Poirot offers to assist, he finds an atmosphere not of mourning, but of mutual suspicion. It seems everyone had their own reason to hate the old man. There you go. It really
That's how
sets
you want to
the
be
stage.
remembered.
I know. This poor
Everyone had a reason to hate him.
Everyone had a reason to hate him, so this will be a fun time. Merry Christmas. So let's go ahead and start. So I am curious to know who everyone's kind of like first half predictions were of who they think did it. To get us there, though, let me just kind of give you the cast of characters, the names, because in a classic whodunit, there's a lot of different people that could do it. They all have their own reasons to. So starting off with Alfred, one of the sons, who is kind of like taken over he's the most not responsible.
He's the eldest.
He's the eldest. He kind of has the biggest responsibility of the family. He and his wife Lydia are kind of like live in the estate with Simeon. She is the lady of the house, so they are kind of like keepers of his father's estate. We have George Lee and his wife Magdalena. George is a barrister.
No, he's an MP. So he's like
MP.
our equivalent of like a congressperson. So he's in Parliament.
Yes. So he's an MP, and Magdalena's kind of like a socialite type, right? Like there's the kind of like flightiness about her of like very much. This is the lifestyle that
she's
I'm
a Roxy
accustomed to.
Hart.
Yes, she is. She is a Roxy. We have David, a gentle soul. David is one of the sons who wanted to be a painter, and then his father was like, over my dead body. And so he basically like just left the family and like was kind of like he was basically like written off, right? Essentially, like
he's the one that married the butch one, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about how she describes the women in this book.
I know. Miss Agatha really knows how to treat her gender right. Yes, David is married to a butch Hilda Lee, and these woodsy women really just love to take charge.
That's what he needed, bless his heart.
That's what he needed. And I respect him and I relate to him. I definitely relate to that energy. And then out of the children, we have Harry Lee as well. Harry is kind of the black sheep. They kind of describe him as most like his father, so like very like womanizing kind of playboy. Just like
he made me think of a frat boy. I was like, frat boy.
Major frat energy. Cannot stop hitting on his niece. Cannot.
Yes. I got major Teddy Roosevelt vibes from him.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's like the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
Coin.
Other side of the corn.
Other side of the corn is a new phrase I've just coined.
It's a new phrase. Yeah. So we also have Pilar Estravedos. Pilar is Simeon's only daughter, Jennifer's daughter, but Jennifer passed away. Jennifer married a Spanish man, Senor Estravedos, and so Pilar is half British, half Spanish, all white. So just keep that in the back of your mind that at the end of the day they're all still European. So it's that's a fun thing. We have Stephen Farr. Stephen is he happened to be in town. He was the son of a former, and this is when I get like, wow, this is truly just like the
son of Ebenezer.
Son of Ebenezer from South Africa, who happened to be in town and just wanted to meet like his father's old friend, and so
which was Simeon.
Yes, which was Simeon. So he ends up crashing into the party as well. So he's also involved. Two of the main people that work the lower up downstairs in the estate are Horbury, who is Simeon's valet, and then Tresillian, who is the estate's like butler, basically like the head butler.
He's been around a long time.
He has been around the block. Let's say that.
And he's been with the family for a long time. And the other guy was like new, right?
Yes. Very new. Horbury. And then we also have two people that are helping Hercule Poirot, Superintendent Sugden, who is kind of like the head police chief in the area. So this is kind of like under his jurisdiction to solve. Colonel Johnson, who I guess is just like, I don't know, like a friend or
right.
I don't know
was
if he
actually the one that was above. I thought like he was.
Oh yes. So he was kind
Sugden.
of yes. So he basically like when the murder happened, Sugden was like, "Hello, Colonel Johnson. Oh, who is this? Who is this friend of yours?" And it was Hercule Poirot, and that's kind of how he got because Poirot was visiting his old friend Johnson. Interesting. So those are all of the cast of characters. Yes, Allie.
And I just before we like move on too far, I just want to say for my perspective, and I'm curious to know for you guys too. From my perspective, I've never read an Agatha Christie book. I've also never seen a movie based on her books.
Okay.
So my entire point of reference for the whole book was Knives Out.
Me too.
Okay.
I've not seen Knives Out even. So
you would. It's good. It's enjoyable.
It's definitely good.
And it's the thing about it is that the mystery revolves around a family staying in one house.
Okay.
And so I was like, it's okay. And so we have Daniel Craig and then we have Chris Evans. I was like, okay. And then Pilar is Ana de Armas.
Yep. They're like clear. They're clear. I don't know how this one specifically ranks in all of her stories. Like, obviously, this isn't the most famous. I'm gonna say it's probably Murder on the Orient Express is probably her most famous one. But as I was reading it, I was like, this is set up exactly like Knives Out.
Yes,
so it's kind of crazy.
Okay, I'm glad I wasn't the only one because the whole time I was like, okay, how else is this like Knives Out? Okay, now what's gonna happen?
How funny.
Yeah,
no,
Catherine, you gotta watch Knives Out. It's really good.
Okay, I'll put it on my very long list of things to watch that I probably won't ever watch. But maybe.
It's definitely.
Well, for me, I was the same. I'd never read Agatha Christie before either, and I'd never seen anything, no reference. And I get to, as soon as I got to, I had a little bit of trouble staying into it until Hercule Poirot came in, and then I was like, "Oh, it's French Sherlock Holmes."
Yeah,
and it reads. I don't know if you've read any Sherlock Holmes, but it reads like a Sir Arthur Conan Doyle book reads. It's a very, very similar read. And so once he came into the picture, I was like, oh, this is familiar. And it felt like, because I when I was in high school, I read a ton of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I was super into him. And it's a very similar style too. So if you like Sherlock Holmes, you're going to like this book.
I'm going to cut this out, but I could easily make a lesbian joke here, Catherine. That's depressing at the least.
Oh, bless.
Oh, bless. Okay. So yeah, I am curious to know everyone's first kind of like prediction. So like the start of the book definitely just lays out the cast of characters, right? And sets up what's about to happen. Leading up to the actual murder, it really did feel like everyone has some sort of stake. I would probably say, like, obviously I was really keyed into the family drama. So I kind of instinctively felt that it was going to be one of the sons, if not the wives. I feel like out of the wives, it was probably Lydia that I felt like it could have been, because she lives in the house. She is the woman, the lady of the house. So there's a sense of like, I can get away with it because I live here. But I definitely felt some really bad vibes from Harry. Really bad vibes from Harry, that throughout the entire book he is hitting on Pilar, and it just made me so uncomfortable that I'm like, oh my God.
Not only hitting on her, but telling everyone who will listen, I wish she weren't my niece because she's super attractive. Like,
cringe.
Why are you advertising it?
Cringe.
It's so bad. Oh my God.
Cringe. Yeah, well, I like I said, I had a hard time with the beginning. So what really stuck out in my mind was the very first scene with Pilar and at the time we don't know who, which is it ends up being the son, I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Stephen, yeah, not the son of the dead man, the son of the dead man's friend. Stephen. And so I was the whole time I was like, something here. Like I thought that the two of them had something. That conversation that they had on the train I was like, I mean, I was all for it. I was like, you go, Pilar. Like one of those moments, like when you watch Snapped and you're like, you know, good for you. Like it was like that.
And that's when she snapped.
How about you, Allie?
Okay, I don't know if we're gonna. I just want to say I was really proud of myself because I'll tell you when I figured it out and decided. But I was.
That's.
I will tell you that. But I was really proud of myself that I figured it out before they were all in a room together, which I was like, good for me.
Oh wow!
So when I first read it, I was like, Pilar. I was like, I think she stole the diamonds. I don't think she killed him. But then I was like, there's something fishy going on that the butler keeps and everybody keeps confusing Harry and Stephen. But then I was like, maybe like all the women got together and like conspire and did like a he had it coming type deal.
Yeah.
Right?
There was a vibe getting into that because I mean, you mentioned it, the way that they kind of just the way Agatha Christie describes the women in this, it's like they're all clearly like, I mean, all the characters have to be stock at a point because they all have to be distinguishable for the reader to be like, was it the straight laced one? Was it the wild one? But yeah, there were so many moments in I mean, and I also feel like because it is of the time, it's like everyone is tied to who they're married. But there was that one moment where I felt like it was like the two wives, right? Was it like Hilda and Lydia or someone? There was a scene where they two talked and I was like, oh, like.
Yeah. She also like, she introduced Lydia and Hilda like back to back, and both of them it's like, well, she was very plain. You couldn't call her beautiful. And I was like, damn, Agatha.
Girl.
Rude.
Damn,
Agatha.
Rude. God, come on. There's got to be something there.
I know. And then it was like Pilar and Magdalene were beautiful, but like they had something to hide.
Yeah.
So I was like, they can't win.
That's the thing. You either have to be very boring and just follow what your husband does, or have some sort of interest outside of a man, and it's like, I don't trust her.
Yep.
I really don't trust her. I mean, that's interesting that you actually kind of figured out. So let's talk about that. Yeah. How did
I want to hear it?
Yeah, I want to hear it because I'm saying I did not figure it out until Poirot was saying it to me.
Really?
Like,
okay.
I didn't figure out. I had suspicions, but I did not figure it out. Period.
Okay, so I'm a person that like I want to figure it out. Like I want to know. And so like I'm really like so the moment that I knew it was Sugden was when Magdalene opened up the box and the fake mustache was in it, because it had just been like a few pages prior that Hercule, that's how I'm going to say it.
Hercule
was like talking about the Sugden's mustache and was like asking him these really specific questions, like, do you use a pomade in your mustache?
Yeah.
How do you? And so when it was a fake one, I was like, all right, well, it was him then. I was like, there's going to be something with the mustache. There's going to be something weird. And I was like, it's Sugden.
The part that I got was there's going to be something weird. And there was a lot of weird discussion about his potential for having fathered other children. So I figured that, but I did not figure out who it was. So I had a suspicion that somebody was a bastard in the house. But I didn't know necessarily that the bastard did it. And I didn't know who it was. So
one of the bastards, because remember Stephen.
That's right.
And I felt like that was going to be part of Stephen, was that he was going to be like, "You're my father."
That's true. I did. Yeah.
So, yeah. I just want to say how funny I think it is to think of this professional detective that's like world renowned sitting in a room and putting a fake mustache onto a portrait to solve a crime. That is such a funny, like just holding it up and then just sitting back and like looking at his work and being like, yes, I see. Yeah, and you know, like these are a really wealthy family. So this must be like a gorgeous portrait, like an oil.
Nice oil painting.
Like, like gorgeous, you know, thousands of pounds. And then he just comes and is like, boink.
There was something solved. He kept bringing it up, right? Like he kept saying like the key to solving the mystery is judging Simeon's character, essentially.
Yeah.
Like there's something. So it took me a while to connect that, like, oh, they mean like his past and like basically fathering other children. I just assumed, I don't know. I assumed like it was like, I took it as like how badly he treated the family. So that's why that's how she got me. She really kept keying in on that I was like, oh, then it probably was David, of how hurt he was from seeing his mother like basically die of, you know.
Well, I didn't believe David could do it, bless him.
But I could.
That was the thing too. That butch of a wife, Hilda.
She's, you know, a handsome woman.
A handsome woman. Oh man. God. Yeah, no, I did that thing where, you know, when you're watching an episode of Law and Order SVU and at the very beginning it looks like somebody did it, so you know for sure that they didn't. That was kind of the thing that kept happening. Like I was like, well, but that's like the number one for that was George and his wife, because they were like, well, you weren't both on the phone. You know what I mean? That was a whole thing. And
that was a whole thing.
The whole thing. But when they were getting so into that, like the other people, obviously, because Hercule Poirot was aware, but the other people were like obsessed with that to some extent. And I was like, this is too obvious. This is not going to be it. Again, I didn't figure out what it was, but I was like, not that.
There was a moment that as much as I, you know, think women are great and have agency and that's awesome, I really didn't want it to be a woman. I was like, please don't let it. They are going through enough in this entire situation. Okay, please let them not be killers too. But there was a moment where I was like, I think it's Lydia. Like she's definitely. But what I really love about yeah, exactly. But what I really love about the writing is that as soon as you get an inkling of someone, there is something in the writing that like all of a sudden you're like, wow, well that kind of, you as a reader can pick up like an alibi. So for me, for Lydia, the fact that she was like, look at my beautiful gardens. Oop, gotta go. And then he's like, those are the diamonds. So it's like,
don't look at that one. That one don't.
That's not done. It's not done yet. You can't look at it yet. It's not done.
But then I was like, okay, well, she wouldn't literally be like, look at these gardens, like directly be like, come over here, Poirot. So I was like, okay, there is something that it made me kind of like not believe her. But then when it got to the end where Poirot was kind of like spinning all the different possibilities, when he said the one about Lydia, I was like, there's so many just good points that I don't know, it's such a good mystery because there are so many things that like it makes sense where if once you start pointing finger at someone, it's like, but that doesn't explain literally all these random things.
Yeah. Well, and Poirot's that moment that you're talking about where he was listing all the things, very Clue, gave me very Clue the movie vibes.
It literally gave me the last scene of Clue where it was just like, yeah.
Very
I was like,
Clue
oh
vibes.
man, she really was the queen of mysteries.
Yeah, so not having read any of her other books, I would be curious, but I did feel like with all of the reveals that it was kind of a hat on a hat, where it was like,
yes,
you're not who you say you are. I'm not who I say I am. And I was like, okay, who else is going to reveal a false identity at this point? Like, I don't know if that's typical, if it's normally just like you're the murderer and that's the scene, or if it's like mayhem and mishaps and Scooby-Doo mask reveals and stuff. Like
I wondered if there was a lot of kitschy stuff because it's Christmas. Like the Christmas novel.
Mm-hmm.
I do love that little moment in the middle where Pilar was like, I never had a proper English Christmas. Let's bust out the decorations.
Can we put balloons now?
It's so funny. She's like, I know he's dead, but I came here for Christmas.
Well, but like she also was like the female version of him, kind of. You know what I mean? So it's like,
that's
kind of on brand.
Well, when she was like, the real Pilar, she died in an explosion, and I just took her place. I was like.
Also, can we just talk about how Spain is literally like Baghdad? Like it is war torn. People are dying and things are blowing. Right. What is going on in Spain? What is going on?
Oh, was it not World War II? Or was that a hypothetical question? I thought it was World War II.
I knew that. I assumed there was a war. I didn't know which one though, because I don't know what year.
I guess I'll have to fact check myself on that later.
How bad was Spain hit in World War II?
I don't know. I just when I think of like when I'm like, oh, war in Europe, I'm like, okay, World War II. That American exceptionalism.
I know. Sorry.
That's all we were taught in school. We don't know about anything else. Sorry, guys.
We were too busy doing other stuff during the first one. So, I mean the last Spanish war that I can think of is literally like the conquistadors, and I don't think that's
not that far back.
It's not that far back, but let's talk about Pilar a little bit. So she's one of the identities that is revealed that she is not who she says she is. Just like Stephen Farr, he's actually is he a bastard child?
Because he was also Simeon's son from an extramarital affair.
An affair, yeah.
Yeah, and Pilar was just some random chick
who was like driving Pilar.
It was basically
driving real Pilar, right? And then she was like, "Whoops!"
The car exploded, and she was like, "Okay, well, I'll take her passport then."
I guess I'll take her passport and be like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah, I thought that was super weird when she pushed the passport out the window, and I was like, I didn't get the significance at all.
I know, she was fully like, "Oh yeah, let me go get it."
Whoops!
And then
a little manic pixie dream girl moment. Oh, haha! Killing me! I just drop everything.
Let me go all the way down to the gardens to fetch it
out the window.
Let me fetch it out of the Dead Sea garden. Here I
go. Oh my god! It would be funny. Is there a adaptation of this for the screen?
I thought it said so on the. Maybe not. I thought it said so on the book.
I think there was a mini series where they did different books. Yeah, there was a TV episode of the show
in 1994.
Whoa!
Oh wow, 1994. That's going to be a winner.
This is so crazy! Wow, look at that mustache.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Philip Jackson is Jap. Who's that? I don't know. Anyway, Wow, that's so crazy. But yeah, it's definitely a fun one to kind of imagine in your head, which Catherine, I would say, if you really wanted to, definitely just watch Knives Out. It is literally like the same.
Maybe.
Oh, you guys, I did a quick Google. So this book was written in 1938, and the Spanish Civil War was from 1936 to 1939.
Oh.
So I would assume that that's what it was.
That's probably what's going on.
That makes
sense. Can we talk about the little, like, just the Euro racism that was happening here? Like, they truly were
so racist. And it's like,
literally also Europeans. Like
right.
back.
Like, how many miles away is that? Like, that's not even like from one side of our country to another. They're super close.
Yeah. I mean, it's the whole like Irish thing, right? Like Irish and Scottish thing. It's like, it's just it's so crazy because they would not stop reminding us that Pilar is Spanish, and that is inherently why she's suspicious. And I am glad that Poirot was like, I don't know, that's not enough. I'm like, okay, I'm glad someone thinks that.
And that he pulled out his pundit square and was like, let me just look. Oh, it's impossible for two blue-eyed people to have a brown-eyed daughter. Punnett square. Bringing it back to high school biology.
Right?
Just like a full,
He like draws it. That's the other thing he does. He draws it on the wall with chalk and is like, blue eye.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this guy was Sherlock Holmes without shooting up. Sherlock Holmes without the opioids.
It's very true. Did you feel like, I felt like, again, because my only point of reference was Knives Out, I wanted him to be a little bit more flamboyant like Daniel Craig is. And I felt like he didn't have much of a personality. Like he was just kind of like would ask
lay in the facts.
Yeah, like ask a question and be like, okay. Like move on.
See, I placed Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes on him, I guess, because I was seeing Sherlock Holmes, and that's the most recent, version of Sherlock Holmes I've seen with my eyes. So, so that's what I saw. And if you think about it, he's kind of flat affect. Yeah. So it kind of fit for me.
Better. Yeah.
Yeah. It is a really nice short book, and the entire time I was thinking about it, I was like, wow, no wonder this woman almost outsold the Bible.
Almost.
So close.
Reel it back.
She's so close. Yeah, only outsold by the Bible and Shakespeare, which
you know what?
Tough competition.
I think by the year 2040, we can get her over the Bible. We can push her over in the next 20 years. We can get her to outsell the Bible.
Oh, man.
The way we're going.
Yeah, this will be our campaign. Let's see, like 100 years later, by 100 years since she wrote this book, we will get Agatha Christie as the top-selling author in the world.
One day she will finally defeat the Bible.
I will. Yeah, it did kind of give me like chapter book like vibes like growing up. I didn't read, the only one I read was Animorphs because I was a nerd. But I don't know if you guys read any other chapter books growing up.
I mean, Babysitter's Club for sure. Mm-hmm. The Boxcar Children, a little bit of Nancy Drew because my mom had them.
Yeah, I had a little bit of Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys. My school library had like stacks of Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew. I remember the blue shelves.
Oh, you know who I really liked? And it's funny because now I haven't even thought about this till just now. I really liked Encyclopedia Brown books. And this is so Encyclopedia Brown.
There you go. It all comes back.
It does. Full circle.
You know what? Mary-Kate and Ashley had their own detective series. And I do remember reading those and enjoying those.
Those were good.
It is interesting to like just kind of fully know that like all of the different reference that we've said that are like murder mysteries and stuff, that it's funny to just be like, oh, this is the source material,
right? They descended from this. Well,
it's pretty crazy.
I particularly remember there was an Encyclopedia Brown book where somebody claimed that somebody's dog had attacked them because something was red, and in the end Encyclopedia Brown revealed that dogs can't see red, so this man was lying. I know. It was a lot. And there was one where somebody's car was supposed to be running and he touched it and he was like, well, your car isn't hot, so I know. It was shady. I loved it.
See, Allie, when you were trying to actively figure out who it was, were you doing stuff like that? Were you like actively kind of like keeping track of all these small details?
I mean, mentally, I guess I didn't have like a little notepad next to me and like writing out, which
I'm disappointed.
I'm 90% sure. I'm 90% sure that I did that as a child when I was reading the Mary-Kate and Ashley books. That I was like, suspects, alibi, like.
Well, and Clue taught us Clue was my favorite board game as a kid, so it taught us to do that. It taught us, and keep it to yourself. Don't let anybody else see.
Yeah. I think that's like what I would, if I ever read this again, which maybe, who knows, or if I read like a second one. Or a different. I mean, there's a whole list in the back of the book.
I know. I was like, "Damn, girl, you were busy."
I'll totally read another one day for sure.
She is busy. Yeah, I what I want to go in like a reread or in a different one was like, if I do take the time to actively read and take notes, will I, the reader, actually figure it out just based on what is already written out? And I feel like that would be such like a good challenge to try and see like. Yeah, is it actually all there? Or are there... Because the thing is, like, yes, they do mention that, like, Simeon has blue eyes. And then they mention, like... But it's not like they will make a connection like, sometimes they will. Like, Poirot will be like, he finds that odd. Or, like, he whatever. But sometimes it really is just written out in it. And then if you pick it up, you pick it up, Really makes you think.
Like all the questions about the mustache. I thought that was super weird, but I didn't pick up that it was purposeful. I was like,
I knew that. Yeah, when they opened the box with a fake mustache, I was like, okay. And then I just kept going because I was like, I'm just so focused to try and get to who did it. So I actually, as it was leading up to the end, when they were kind of revealing the different scenarios, I fully believed it was Stephen at that point. I was like, okay, I think this is really setting it up. That's why when the actual reveal that it was Superintendent Sugden, spoiler alert, we've already done that.
I was going to say.
When they finally revealed that Superintendent Sugden is also another bastard child. And the fact that, which was so funny because as he was explaining it and how like he came and then like left and then came back again, basically. Like, no, I didn't suspect that was weird. I was fully like, okay, like I guess he called for him because they were missing, but it ended up being that like that was all a lie. He didn't really know that they were actually missing, right? Like he kind of made that Sugden kind of made that as an alibi just to see him, to be like, we heard from whatever that they may be missing, and he was like, no, they're right there. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a shock. As opposed to like
the diamonds.
Yes, exactly. And then it kind of like manifested in that they ended up missing. As much as also I didn't want any of the women to do it, I really didn't want Horbury or Tressilian to do it too, because I was like, I don't think this man is so awful, but he's definitely more awful to his family than to the people that work for him.
Not for 1 second did I think it was Tressilian. Not for 1 second did I think it was him. And Horbury was kind of that thing where I was like, no, this is too easy. It can't be him.
Classic red herring.
Yeah, he was too. Yes, he was very red herring.
Especially with the cat feet when they were like, "Where did you come from?"
That was also the thing too. I thought everything was a red herring, so I was like, I can't trust anything that Agatha writes until the end. So I'm just gonna. That was kind of my energy reading it. Like I'm just gonna take all the details in, and then I'll just let it.
Just along for the ride.
Yeah, just let it be revealed to me and be like amazed, which I was. I was definitely amazed at the end. Yeah. So, final thoughts. I'm glad that we all liked it as our first introduction to Agatha, and we're going to be new fans of Agatha from now on.
Clearly, we gotta push her. We gotta push her book sales now. We've made a commitment.
Full campaign. Yeah.
No, I did really like it, and I am almost certain I'll read another one whenever I hit a hit a lull. I don't know. I've got a 12-hour drive to Tennessee on Sunday, so maybe I'll read one
there
then.
You
Or
go.
listen.
There you go.
Yeah. I have to say, I was like, maybe I'll try listening to this one. I think I got like 2 minutes in and I was like, I can't do it. I was like, I can't. I couldn't, because I was like, I don't know anything that you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's really like, it works really well to listen while I'm doing something, because and it has to be something mindless, like folding the laundry, and I say mindless, but like, I love Sudoku puzzles, and one of my favorite relaxing things is to listen to an audiobook and do Sudoku puzzles. I have so many books of them, and I just go through them, and it's just it's like just the right amount of engaging, I guess, to keep me listening to the book while I'm still focused on this other thing. I don't know, but it works really well for me. But I used to not be able to do it, so I get it.
I used to do it a lot when I would like drive.
Yeah,
but I
driving
don't
too.
really drive anymore. So
Same.
it's like on the days that I do go into the office, I take the bus, and it's, I bring my little book and I read in the bus, and I just want to show everyone that I'm like a smart girl.
She's
It's all about that.
Belle
Yes,
energy over here.
They're just like, wow, look at her. She's trying to solve a mystery. Well, I'm so excited to announce our next book. So this book that we are reading came out this year, and it made quite a wave in the pop culture ephemera, the world. And when I was trying to think about like what book to read, I was actually torn. I was initially going to do something that was releasing in January, but a lot of the books that are highly anticipated that like we haven't read yet that I would be interested in are releasing like closer to the end of January. So I was like, okay, then maybe let's just do a book that we may have missed this year, to kind of like put a cap on 2021, by starting 2022 by putting a cap on 2021. And then the song "All I Want for Christmas Is You" by Mariah Carey came on the radio, and I was like, that's right, her autobiography came out this year. So we are starting 2022 by reading "The Meaning of Mariah Carey" by Mariah Carey with Michaela Angela Davis. Now, I'm very excited for this because I have only heard great things from this book, but I have heard even better things about the audiobook because she narrates it, and there are moments where she'll like sing along and like
I'm thrilled.
Just kind of like, and some people have been like, it's almost kind of like an audio concert, because she'll like talk about her life and then like kind of like chit chat a little bit in the in betweens. So
I'm excited. Good reveal.
So,
good reveal.
Thank you. So let me read to you the jacket copy.
I honestly never would have expected it.
I know. Let me read to you the jacket copy, because the jacket copy is a letter from Mariah Carey to you, the reader.
Oh, that's exciting.
It took me a lifetime to have the courage and the clarity to write my memoir. I want to tell the story of the moments, the ups and downs, the triumphs and traumas, the debacles and the dreams that contributed to the person I am today. Though there have been countless stories about me throughout my career and very public personal life, it's been impossible to communicate the complexities and depths of my experience in any single magazine article or a 10-minute television interview. And even then, my words were filtered through someone else's lens, largely satisfying someone else's assignment to define me. Woo! This book is composed of my memories, my mishaps, my struggles, my survivals, and my songs, unfiltered. I went deep into my childhood and gave the scared little girl inside of me a big voice. I let the abandoned and ambitious adolescent have her say, and the betrayed and triumphant woman I became tell her side. Writing this memoir was incredibly hard, humbling, and healing. My sincere hope is that you are moved to a new understanding, not only about me, but also about the resilience of the human spirit. Love, Mariah.
Oh my God. She is Mimi.
Mariah Carey is Mimi. So I'm so excited to read this. I know that, like, just from some of the podcasts that I listened to throughout the year that talked about it, it goes very deep into, like, obviously her growing up biracial is, like, very important in her life, but also, like, when she first came out and, like, basically her agent, who, like, she was her manager, who, like, she was in a very long relationship with, but basically couldn't market her as Black. Like, they had to kind of even though she had, like, this voice, they had to kind of market her as, like, white as possible to kind of make her succeed in, like, the pop charts and stuff. And it really wasn't until she was kind of in charge of her own music that she started to kind of reflect more of kind of that Blackness that she really wanted to express in her music too. So I'm really excited. We all love Mariah Carey. I mean, come on.
Who doesn't?
The elusive chanteuse. Come on. So if you would like to join us for our next discussion, which will be at the end of next month, you can grab a copy of The Meaning of Mariah Carey by Mariah Carey in our Ampliverse bookshop. You can purchase that there, and it not only does it help the Ampliverse, but it also helps a local bookstore in your area. So that's at bookshop.org/shop/the Ampliverse.
Discovering voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.